What's going on, y'all? Hope y'all Friday is starting out good. Thank you for joining. Your eyes and ears don't lie. And sitting up here checking out some of the updated news and what's going on with Taco Tits Trump, the Orange Faced Gremlin, the pedophile in chief, and his meeting that's going on. It should already happen now since they're ahead of time with us in Alaska. And to get an idea how much Putin respects Trump and his threats, they launched attacks in Ukraine this morning. So the day of your meeting, Russia gonna launch attacks in Ukraine just to show you that we don't give a damn about you. We don't got no respect for you. We don't care what you coming to say. We know that you, orange-faced gremlin, are Russia's bitch. That's what they did. So all this fronting for the public here and your MAGA maggots that support you on this bullshit, nah, he don't care about you at all. He don't respect you. He thinks you a joke. They showing on Russian media, and they've been doing it for quite a while, been showing naked pictures of your wife. And you sit across from a dude that does that kind of shit from you, to you. But you gotta remember, this dude's a scumbag anyway, so Trump don't care. He probably happy people seeing it, saying that's my wife, when they're not doing it because it's something positive. They're doing it to embarrass you, make you look like the laughing stock that you really are. You're not this strong man, you're not this tough guy, you're not this person who anyone in the world respects. You go meet with leaders globally and these people are laughing at you. They're looking at you like you a damn fool. You get some of them who go through the motions just hopefully to get tariff relief, but at the end of the day, the other superpowers, they ain't scared of you. But what you are is envious as hell of Putin. You want to run the country like Putin runs Russia. You idolize the guy. Only person you idolize more than him is Hitler. And his country is, you're even entertaining, or the discussions that Russia would actually ask for minerals or parts of Alaska back, and you would even entertain that? You a clown. And the American public should be really paying attention to these things, where you are not America first. You're not America first and you're dealing with Russia. You damn sure ain't America first with this shit with Israel. Or you demand allegiance to another country, or you gonna withhold federal money that our citizens paid? Because speaking on that US policy shit and all that, I had to look it up and really do some research, because when I started hearing the stories that the US government was going to be paying benefits to Israeli soldiers and pensions, I thought that had to be, this gotta be some bullshit. There's no way that you're gonna cut benefits to 16 million people for medical. You're gonna cut other government programs that honest citizens genuinely need. Yes, there is fraud going on, but not anywhere near the scale that you're saying. And do I oppose people who are able to working? No. I think everybody, if you can do, you should. But there's an overwhelming amount of people that they need this stuff. There's people that are working that still can't afford to pay their shit, and they need the assistance. And they work because companies are not paying a fair wage in a lot of these states. You know, it used to be, decades ago, where if you had a job and you worked, you ain't gonna buy a Ferrari or a Lambo, but you could at least pay rent and live. And those days are gone, depending on where you're at. Where you working 40 hours or 40 plus hours a week and can't pay your basic necessities, or it's busting your ass to do so. So you need some of that assistance. I looked at a crazy ass number where they said 60% of people that work at Walmart are on government aid because Walmart ain't paying you shit, or they need some sort of assistance. But they're working, they're full-time employees. So while you have a company that's making billions and billions of dollars, that has the richest woman in the United States and possibly one of the richest in the world as their owners. Like the Waltons are extremely rich, the whole family. And when you look at the amount of money that they're bringing in versus what you're paying your employees, you're not even 60% of your employees are receiving some form of government assistance. And y'all can look that up. It's crazy. Like when I saw that, I was dumbfounded by that. But then you got to realize that everywhere is not cheap. You got some places where, yeah, some states you buy a house for $100,000, $120,000. And then a lot of places you can't. Like you work at Walmart here in California, unless you management or you've been there for a long ass time, you can't even pay rent on a 1 or 2 bedroom without roommates. So it's crazy how these things end up. So for you to sit here and say that you're gonna offer pensions, so when you retire from the IDF, Israeli soldiers are gonna be receiving a pension that's higher than US veterans, that you're gonna receive benefits from the US government, and damn the US government, from US taxpayers. Because you gotta remember that when the government, they talk about doing this, they talk about how they're gonna do that, the government is broke. The government don't have no damn money. They spend taxpayer money. When you build weapons, you built those, when you sign weapons contracts, you use taxpayer money to pay for those weapons. And then you sell those weapons to other countries. And you don't refund the taxpayers. You put it in a fund and do what else you want with it. So I hate how these politicians get out there and they say, I did this, I did that, I gave you, bitch, you didn't give us shit. You gave us back our own money. They say I, like you reached in your pocket and did some shit. The government spends taxpayer money. And when you invest taxpayer money and generate a profit, you keep that profit. So you're giving Israeli soldiers US taxpayer money. When you give them the over $3 billion you give them a year, and that's before you add up what they've been doing for these military operations, just on average they give them $3 billion, 3.1 or 2 billion a year. And that was before you've been having to supply them with all this new weaponry so they can attack and murder and commit genocide to the Palestinians and be the bully of that region, attacking everybody and bringing the US into conflicts because you won't stand up to them. But y'all share a lot of the same ethical stuff where how can you tell them they're wrong when you've done the same shit and do the same shit all over the world? It's just not covered or talked about. So that would be like the pot calling the kettle black, not to mention it's obvious that Israel has something on you or some sort of leverage that keeps making you do this shit. And I know that, the US gets all of their intelligence in the region and overseas, as far as Arab countries and everything. They get all of their intelligence from Mossad. Some argue that Mossad is the most sophisticated intelligence agency on the planet. Although they may talk about the CIA, at least for that region, it's them. The US keeps the largest stockpile of weapons that we have in Israel. So it's easily accessible to do all the bullshit they want to do in that region. So it's crazy when you really look at the bigger picture of how US policy has been affected by this moron in office. And he's terrible at foreign policy, and other countries know that. He's the laughing stock of the world globally, and the only thing that they fear is the US military, because they know that we've always been about attacking people. We're not getting into wars for the greater of humanity. We're getting into wars that affect our financial interests or our global interest in areas. When's the last time the US got into a conflict somewhere that didn't have oil, didn't have gold, didn't have minerals or raw materials that we need for building and funding our shit? So don't get it twisted where we don't make any decisions based on a moral compass, because we have no moral compass when you look at the actions that are being acted upon. So this little trip to Russia or to Alaska to meet the Russian president, it serves no purpose. So he can just tell you what you need to do. You're not gonna get nothing from him. And that's one thing where all these countries you're trying to order to not buy Russian oil, it ain't working. You tried to bully the shit out of India, and India told you to go fly a kite. We're not getting bullied by you. We're gonna continue to buy Russian oil because we need the oil. You know, a lot of people forget that when this shit first went down, you know, during the Biden administration, they tried to go tell all these countries to not buy Russian oil. And out of all the countries that are around there, there were like, I think 30 or less that actually agreed to do it. And a lot of their answers were, man, please, we're not gonna punish our citizens by high-ass gas prices because you don't want us to buy from Russia. We're looking at our people, we're looking at our country, and we're gonna buy oil from Russia because it's cheaper. We're not gonna do what you want and not let you continue to dictate a lot of the world policies and decisions that people are making. And it's gotten even stronger now where you look at Africa, for an example. They're trying to kick the US dollar out. And they don't like that. Because if you're backing deals with gold and oil and you're not using the US dollar is gonna crash because it's already dropped 12% this year. So globally, he's a fucking terrible, terrible fucking leader and not respected at all. Right now, he's probably bent over right now over a desk with Putin. This little punk ass with your cankles. Can't stand that dude.